Great. Okay. Thank you, Danica, very much. I'm so happy to be joining you all today. As Danica said, I'm Mandy Meineke. I'm the Director of Business Development at GreenPath Financial Wellness, and just so happy to be here today to let you know about this wonderful employee benefit that is available for you. Just a little bit about me. I've been with GreenPath for 11 years. I absolutely love working here. In my role, I oversee a team that works to bring on new partnerships so that we can get the word out about GreenPath services and resources around financial wellness. And it's just, I feel very strongly that everyone deserves financial well-being and to feel confident and to achieve the goals that they want to have and have access to resources to do so. So it's really exciting when other mission-aligned organizations bring these types of benefits for you all, and I'm really excited to be here. So with that, I will get started. I'm going to talk with you about how you can connect with our financial counselors at GreenPath, our financial wellness experts for one-on-one guidance to address, anything in your situation. And so I'll kind of talk about what to expect when you would contact GreenPath, and then also share how to go about doing that, as well as some other resources that we have to complement that, as far as online resources and different things like that. So again, feel free to chime in or chat if you have questions along the way, and we'll get started. All right, so I'm going to cover a little bit more about GreenPath and what we do here and our services and kind of what makes us different. When kind of talk through, sometimes we don't even think about things life events that happen where, hey, yeah, it might make sense to reach out and talk with someone and run things by an expert who can provide some guidance. And then, of course, answer any questions you have. All right, so first, just a little bit about GreenPath. I know that, talking about finances can sometimes be stressful. Our culture, we're kind of typically don't talk a lot about that with others. So contacting someone who, you're not familiar with, we know can be kind of a little scary, what to expect, that kind of thing. So I hope that after sharing this with you, I'll demonstrate that GreenPath is really a great, safe place for you to come and talk about your goals and situations and get an action plan designed just for you. So we were founded in 1961. So we've been doing this for over 60 years. We are a national nonprofit organization. So we are not selling products. We're not, gonna push any products on you or anything. We truly are an unbiased place for you, and with a mission that is to empower people to lead financially healthy lives. So last year we counseled about 88,000 individuals over the course of the year. And we do everything from, talking about budgeting, understanding credit and how that works, savings, which is great. It's so awesome to hear you guys are doing a savings challenge, planning, for your future, housing, if you have any housing concerns. So we'll go through the different kind of services, but really the basics and the cornerstones of financial health. Another thing that I think I want to share to help give you some comfort level in GreenPath, our culture, we really have 3 guiding principles that I think sets us apart. One, it's empathy. We have an empathy coach on staff that train our counselors too, and to remind people that we're all coming from different situations and different levels of access to information. And so it's really about making connections and listening to you and understanding what your goals are, and not just pushing a one-size-fits-all approach, but really making that connection and being non-judgmental. So really working with you to find a plan that's going to work. Also, the people-centered approach. We use human-centered design in a lot of what we do in our services that we design through the lens of, are we going to have an impact on you? And that's what we want, a positive impact that's going to help. And then also behavioral economics, thinking about what makes people act the way they do. One example I like to share, even in my 11 years here at GreenPath, where we've made some changes based on some, behavioral science, is that every person that contacts GreenPath gets an action plan. But in the past, we might have had several action items for someone to do. And a behavioral economics principle is that too many things can actually sort of paralyze us a little bit. So really working to determine what are the key things that you can focus on first to help you start reaching those goals. And then let's add a few more once you start getting some successes and some wins along the way. So everything we do is really meant with the having a positive impact and outcome for the people we serve. And that would be you all. So how does GreenPath help our clients? And how do we work toward improving financial health of those we talk with? Well, first of all, the main core of what we do is, like I mentioned, that one-on-one financial counseling. And all of GreenPath's counseling services are free and they're confidential. So your organization is bringing this resource for you, and it's free and you can call and take advantage. We're not sharing back who calls. So we're not going to tell, your employer that Mandy Meineke called and this is what she talked about. We do track number of people that are utilizing our services. So when you do call GreenPath, we will ask, how did you hear about us? Who referred you? So we would love if you shared that NAPEBT did refer you, but we are not going to share back anything other than number of people that interacted with us. Again, we provide that coaching and counseling on options such as if you're struggling with debt. Many people we talk to find that they have credit card debt or other debt, and that they're unable to sometimes achieve some of their other financial goals because it's hard to get out from behind that. And so we guide a lot of people with options around that. Also, understanding credit scores and credit reports. We find that many people, haven't pulled their credit report in a while. And if they did, what would they look for and what's on there? And it's a bit overwhelming if you haven't done that before. So walking people through that and helping to guide them on what's on your credit report and what is impacting your score, especially if you're considering a large purchase in the near future, whether maybe it's a car or a home or something else where you want to get the best terms and interest rates that you possibly can. So really understanding what goes into that. Again, that budget counseling. I know sometimes budgeting is not fun. It's not this great, exciting thing that we all look forward to do, but it can really be a wonderful tool to help you achieve your goals. And there are so many great resources out there to help make it easier and not as painful, whether you're a person who likes to download an app and have that, or someone who wants to write it down in a notebook. Just tracking your spending for a few months and understanding where some of that money is going can be a super helpful thing to do. I can give you an example for my husband and I recently, since I am now working from home mostly, we had a couple subscriptions like X Sirius radio in my car, and I'm not in my car much anymore. So it just made us think about, again, the point of budgeting isn't that you have to cancel everything and have no fun, but it's really prioritizing and looking at, gosh, I forgot I even had that and I'm never using it. So could I apply that money to an emergency savings account or other things like that? GreenPath is also a HUD approved housing counseling agency. So we are certified to provide counseling around housing concerns, whether that's you're looking to buy a house and you want some home buyer education, or we do mortgage delinquency counseling if anyone is concerned about being able to make the payments on your mortgage and what your options are there. We do rental counseling as well if you're renting and so forth. So a lot of that support too. And then our counselors are also trained to assist members around student loans. Many people today have student loans, and sometimes it's a little overwhelming to understand what are the repayment options once you're ready to start paying those back, and what might be best for you. So kind of looking at that whole picture and then talking with you about what are you trying to achieve? What are some short-term and long-term goals? And then getting an action plan in place to do that. Again, we're licensed in all 50 states, and we do most of our counseling over the phone. We also have English and Spanish counselors available, so they can speak with you in that. Or if you have another preferred language, we use a telelanguage service. So if language is a barrier, please don't let it be a barrier, because we can support other languages as well. All right, one tool that our counselors can offer for individuals that may be struggling with credit card debt is something called the debt management program. We talk to many individuals, again, who find it that they're just kind of caught in the cycle of making a minimum payment. Maybe they are now having late fees, and therefore, because they've been late, their interest rate is now 29%, and it just feels like there's no way out. And one example of an option that we can discuss with you would be a debt management program. This is not something that is a fit for everyone, and we're only going to bring it up if we think it could be a viable option for you, but it's a pretty game-changing tool for those that it is a fit for. And basically, in a nutshell, what it is it's a tool to help you pay back your debt in full. It is not debt settlement, so you're still paying back 100% of the principal, but you make that one payment to GreenPath, and then GreenPath, because of our long-standing record of having success and helping people pay their debt back, creditors will often work with us. And when they know you're going to go on a structured plan with support from GreenPath, that they are willing to lower interest rates. So often we see people paying, 25%. Now they only have to pay 7%. They're often willing to waive late fees and over limit fees, because again, they know that if someone's committed to paying back and working with GreenPath on this plan, they're willing to concede on some of those interest rates and fees. So then basically you make one easy payment to GreenPath, we pay your creditors so that you're making those on-time payments, and you start getting back on track and paying that debt off within a 3 to 5 year period. So often we end up saving people money in their monthly budget, as well as helping them pay off debt several years prior, shorter than they would if they were trying to pay on their own. We do charge a fee for the service, and that is all fully disclosed up front, and there is no pressure. You can say no, thank you. Our counselors will also talk with you about other options for you to pay back your debt on your own if you'd like to go that self-guided way. And I would say, on average, about 1 in 4 people that come to us with debt decide that the debt management program is the best fit, and typically it really saves them a lot of money. So we definitely counsel a lot of people to chip away at their debt on their own too, and give them tools to do that. All right, so again, I mentioned that it's really important for us and our mission to empower people. So we also survey the people we counsel, and it's very important that we're having the intended impact and that positive outcomes that we want. So after counseling and our surveys, we find that 92% are saying, yeah, I do feel better prepared to handle finances, and I have clear next steps. 94% clear next steps. They feel their action plan is helping them to do that. For those that complete our debt management plan, they are saying 89% are reporting improved spending habits, and 78% saying now I'm able to increase my savings as well. Again, often we're able to free up money in their budget that was going to fees and high interest, and they're able to put that toward savings and things like that. So hopefully this is kind of getting you thinking about, hey, should I be contacting GreenPath? What might I talk to them about, that sort of thing. So I want to also say that GreenPath is not just here for people that may be facing a hardship. We also can help provide guidance around other things. And so I just want to remind people that we're all going through different stages. For me, for instance, I have one in college and a senior in high school about to go. So my budget is going to be greatly impacted with two in college going forward. So it's like thinking about what kind of life events might talking with someone about my finances, about my budget, about what can I do to just help make sure I have a plan that's going to get me to where I want to be. And here are some, life events and things like, maybe you're planning to have a family, you're planning to start a baby or start a family, and there are lots of expenses that come with caring for children and daycare and different things like that. Again, maybe you're going to be graduating from college or planning retirement in the next few years. And it's just important to think about what types of events and where it might be good to talk with someone about that. Sometimes too, life might throw a curveball if you've got someone in your household that contributes to income, but now they have a job loss, or maybe you're experiencing a divorce or something where, again, things are going to impact your finances and your budget, and you might want to talk with someone about that. So again, we're a nonprofit that can support you with that. And if any of these things are kind of in your near future, it may be good to reach out to GreenPath to discuss. All right, so I wanted to share a little bit more about what you can expect if you call GreenPath. A lot of times we hear from the people that we counsel that they wish they would have called earlier, but they were scared. They didn't know what to expect. They didn't want to, feel like they were going to be judged, or they weren't sure. So I want to share with you kind of what you can expect if you call GreenPath. So first of all, again, this is the first part, maybe something arises, or maybe, again, you've heard that your employer is offering this benefit and I'm going to pick up the phone. Actually, 89% of our clients are referred by either one of our partners or friends and family that have already worked with GreenPath. So that's why we are so happy when we are able to work with mission-aligned organizations. All right, so when you call, you'll first speak with one of our client advocates. They typically answer the phone within 60 seconds, so you're not waiting on hold forever. You don't have to sit there and think about all that. They will ask you a few questions, including who referred you and the main reason you're calling. So they're not going to ask you to drop about your whole situation, but at least if they can understand, do you have a housing concern? Do you want to just talk about your budget, credit report? The main reason for your call, if you have a large purchase in your future, whatever that may be. And then they're going to ask you a few personal details, because we set you up as a client in our system. So your name, your address, that sort of thing. And again, if you could let them know that NAPEBT referred you, we're going to mark that only to share back the number of people that are interacting with our counselors. We're not going to share your personal information. It is confidential. So then they're going to say, hey, if you have time right now, we can get you over to one of our financial wellness experts. And that's what I definitely recommend. If you've picked up the phone, let's get you started and have them take that deep dive with you. If not, you can make an appointment. If you prefer to make an appointment, that is an option. But hopefully you're ready. We transfer you to one of our financial wellness experts, and they're going to take that deep dive with you to understand your situation and your goals. They're going to request your permission to do a soft pull of your credit report. So when we do a soft pull, it does not show up as a hard inquiry on your credit report, not have a negative impact on your credit score, but it does help us understand a little bit more about your financial picture, take a little bit of that pressure off of you from thinking about, oh my gosh, how many credit cards do I have, or how many, mortgage payments do I have left, or whatever it may be. Most of us don't know that off the top of our head. So the credit report can really help our counselors have more of a conversation with you and take some of that pressure off from you having every statement or everything next to you when you call. They're going to complete a financial assessment and then create with you a personalized action plan that they're going to email you when you're done. So you can generally expect to spend about an hour. That's about on average. Some might be a little less, or some might be a little more. And then you're going to walk away with that action plan. If you do have debt, they will discuss options for you. So again, they may direct you down that self-guided plan, or talk to you about a debt management program, and you can decide if that's right for you. At any time, you are welcome to call GreenPath back. It's not like a one and done and you can never call us again. Many times people feel pretty good with their action plan and they can go off and act, or use some of our online tools to support some of the things that you're working on, but you are always welcome to call back as well. For those that do have debt and are interested in kind of that self-guided journey, we're going to talk with you about things that you could do. Do you want to use a snowball method for debt pay down, or the avalanche, and where in your budget might you find a few extra dollars to pay down toward debt? What kind of lifestyle adjustments might you want to make to help you get out of that cycle? And then, continue to make that financial progress and reduce the stress. I mean, one of the things we really track and really want to have a positive impact on is reducing stress due to personal finances. We often hear that that's one of the biggest stressors in our lives. And that is one of the things we survey. And after 6 months, we see people say they've had a 20% reduction in stress due to personal finances. So that's something we're continuing to work on and want to see. For those that do decide that the debt management plan might be the right fit for those that are wanting to go on that to pay down debt, we will work to get proposals out to all the creditors that you owe money to and get those interest rates reduced, and then get you set up on a plan where you would make one payment to GreenPath via ACH, typically based on when you get paid, and then we make those payments right away to the creditors. So you're making on-time payments. We're not holding all your money. This is not debt settlement. Often we find we have a client success team that is going to be doing several things behind the scenes to make sure this is smooth for you. We have a app that you can check your progress, you can make changes, you can chat with one of our client success specialists. So we really have a lot of support for you along the way as well. We also offer a closed Facebook community. We find that a lot of times people want to not only talk to their counselor at GreenPath, but maybe they want to hear from other people that have had similar life experiences and hear like, hey, do you have any life hacks for me? How did it work? Sometimes it's hard, and just getting that support and encouragement from others is a real help. And it's really inspiring to go. Sometimes I'll just go and check people's comments. And, I saw one the other day where an individual had put, I started a debt management program, but it's hard and I'm a little stressed out. And immediately there were like 6 comments saying, I was in your shoes, it's worth it. I've got 3 payments left and I'll be debt free. And it's like that encouragement is really awesome to see as well. All right, so I wanted to share just a couple of client stories, and these are real examples of client stories. We're not giving real names, but this is an example of someone who actually called GreenPath, and Jan was a victim of fraud. So she had thousands of dollars of debt open in her name that were not hers, but she also had some other things that were hers, and her finances were spiraling out of control. And then she had the fraud on top of it. And she was very, very stressed. There were so many moving parts. She just felt like she couldn't do it all herself. And a friend had told her about GreenPath, and she decided to call. And she said, even after that first call, the stress level conservatively dropped, she had a plan. She was relieved she had a plan in place. She did decide to go on a debt management program with GreenPath and felt that that was helping her get back on track. She also got help with understanding how to dispute the fraudulent items on her credit report. And she did, then saw her credit score start to improve because she was doing that properly. And she said our portal, the app and portal, were really helpful for her to track her progress. And when we asked, would you recommend a friend, a GreenPath to a friend or family, she said yes. Another example is Michelle. She lives here in Michigan, and she actually is on our website. Her story, she said, I keep hearing about GreenPath. I heard good things about it, and I wasn't on a call 10 minutes. I already felt better. It sounds really dramatic, but it's almost like I hit the lottery that day. Within 30 minutes, I had answers. The GreenPath counselor, was having somebody call me back with a plan. And by the end of the day, I heard from them. I didn't have to do anything. You guys did all the work. For the first time in probably 10 years, I have a feeling that I would have financial freedom one day. So these are real people. And again, it's just really great to hear that from the people we work with. And if you have other, people in your household and things, we're happy to work with them as well. So with that, I wanted to make sure I share with you, and we can make sure I get this to Danica so she can post it or email it or get it out to you all as well. But connecting with GreenPath, it's really quick and simple. There's an 800 number. It's an 877 number, but it's a toll-free number that you can call. We have extended hours. So you can see we're open Monday through Thursday from 5 to 7, Friday 5 to 5, and then Saturday 6 to 3. So we have hours that you can call. We also have a link that I'll provide for where you can request a call. So if you are one of those people you prefer, just have one of your counselors call me back, you can put in your information and we can have someone call you as well. Another thing we have here, I listed our website. We have a lot of great online courses where you can, if maybe you want to first start and say, you know what, I think I want to talk to someone, but I'd rather first start and look at what you have online and kind of get my feet wet a little bit with some courses. We offer webinars. We have a bunch of recorded ones that you could watch on your own time. We also offer a monthly live webinar that you could register for and attend for free. We have several calculators and worksheets and all kind of things right on our website at greenpath.com. It's under the resources and tools section. So I absolutely recommend, going there too and checking for those sort of resources that really support that one-on-one counseling that's available. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of information about GreenPath. I'm happy to open it up for any questions you have. I'm going to go back to this slide so that's on your screen if you want to jot that down. Let me see, did we have anything in the chat? I don't see anything in the chat either, but if anybody has questions, I'm happy to hang on and answer those. Great, thank you, David.
I did want to ask one question, and people are welcome to unmute or type them in the chat. So a lot of the examples were for budgeting or things that could be kind of handled into the future. What if you had something that was an emergency, like you got notice that you were going to be experiencing a wage garnishment? Is that something that GreenPath could also kind of I'm at a crisis, yes. Or IRS has said, they're going to put a lien on something, on my account. How can GreenPath help with those kinds of things?
Absolutely. Anything that you have a question about that has to do with your finances impacting your expense side of your budget or income, we can absolutely talk you through that. We do not give, like, if someone calls and says, I want to save for retirement, we will talk to you about, okay, where can we find money to free up in your budget to help you start doing that? Let's start small and get bigger. But we're not going to go as far as say, invest in this stock, or we're not financial planners. So we're not going to give that type of specific advice, but more, all right, let's think about that. That's a good plan. It is important that you have that. Or, hey, do you have an emergency savings if you are maybe you do have a wage garnishment and that's gonna eventually come to an end? Where might be the best place to send those funds now? Do you want to establish an emergency savings fund? Do you have debt with high interest that you want to start plugging more payments toward? What might be the best use of that? So for sure, if you have anything like that, our counselors can absolutely kind of talk you through different options. Again, we're at the end of the day, based on your goals, they're going to make recommendations, and then you will need to see what sounds best for you based on your goals.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are thinking about about this as student. If you have federal student loans, they've been on hold for a while.
Yes.
They got an additional reprieve. It looks like
Yes.
it's going to not come online again until late August. But this is a great time if you have federal student loans that have been due to COVID-19 relief, to get a plan together to how are you going to start those payments? How can you, be ready to take back that payment back into what you pay each month, or how can you navigate some of the debt repayment options. So just a lot of great resources that I've read about on the website, that I've seen in your newsletter, that we will continue to make available. So what I want to remind people is, if you are a NAPEBT member and have a login to the NAPEBT website, you would go to Wellness Essentials. There's the tab for Wellness Essentials right on the homepage after you log in, and there is an icon for GreenPath right on that page that will take you to this information about how to call, the hours, and how to request those services, and a direct link to their website. So I just want to make sure that I thank Mandy. There have been a lot of thank yous in the chat. Thank you so much, Mandy, for joining us today. Thank you everyone for taking time out of your schedule. Again, this NAPEBT Wellness webinar will be archived on our YouTube channel, and you are welcome to share it with other colleagues now and in the future. If you're a new hire, this is your first job, or you're looking at retirement in the next few years, and everything along the way. Thank you, Mandy, for giving us hope and a pathway toward financial independence with this resource. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.